getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nurov in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And the Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
iGPFun F3 League. We've crossed over the halfway mark in our championship now. It's a shortened 10-round season for the first time in 2024, but we still have one drop round, we still have 5 rounds to go, and we still have a lot of interest in our championship. Welcome along to the JPB YouTube channel once again. My name's Ewan alongside James Parfitt here for this evening. And we're looking forward to another great race here, James. It should be normal procedure applies for these Formula 3 cars. Should be fun, although it should be a little bit more difficult maybe to overtake today than what we saw last time. We continue our Italian tour. This time it takes us to Imola.
Yeah, it does. It's going to be an exciting one. I do love a bit of Imola, to be fair, and I think it can bring great action. And I think I'm really looking forward how these guys battle Tamburello and Villeneuve. I think they're going to be some high-end flash points, maybe on the run up into Variante Alta as well before they get into Ravazza. I think that's going to be very interesting sections of the racetrack. But I think it should be a good one. I think, I'm optimistic, dear sir.
Yep, it should be a good one indeed. Just 2.5 minutes to go in qualifying, so let's take you through the championship standings as to where we have got to so far this season. Lee Aberdeen has been dominant, and these are, by the way, the total points they've got without one drop week applied. Lee Aberdeen being the top driver so far. Brent Ruiz second ahead of Antonio Jimenez, then Mackenzie Roon and Will McIntyre to round out the top 5. Just a further point back is Ivan van der Hoek, and then a few more points further back to Evan Way. Luca Varani had a bit of a better time out last week, and so he is 8th. Pedro Suarez and Reino Scattini round out the top 10. Kevin Stremstra 11th, ahead of Thibaut Rabillard. Then it's Andy Flint in 13th. Chris George Underleadis jumped up to 14th last round, with Robert Widway dropping down. So did Ben Goyette, actually, as well as Kenty Newhoff, who again wasn't able to start the race. In fact, he's only been at 2 out of the 5 races so far. He won't be involved in the championship this season, unfortunately. Then we've got Patrick Piper, Edward Amos and Oscar Arcinano to round out the top 20 from what we've got there. We'll let the rest of them cycle through at the moment. But yes, that is where we are currently in the overall points. If you apply one drop week, it does get a little bit closer. But Lee Aberdeen's lead doesn't get any more impressive, really, because he's still yet to finish outside the top 2, which means, of course, his drop round is a second position. That's very difficult to overcome.
Yeah, it definitely is. It gives him 7 points over Brent Ruiz, and I think that's going to be the vital thing. We will keep an eye on it, of course, and start looking at, obviously, the drop rounds coming into sort of round 10, 11, round 9, sorry, because there isn't an 11, is there? So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. One of the other things as well in the rookie series, Brent Ruiz is out in front with Mackenzie Roon. That's only by 4 points if we don't apply drop weeks. If we do apply drop weeks, it's only by 3 points. So the rookie series is getting really close as well. In the 2.5K, Rino Scattini is out in front by 8 points over Chris George Angelidis. But then again, if you apply 1, it comes down to 5 points. So, yeah, very interesting championships at the moment. And it's getting very, very tight everywhere, to be fair. And I think overall, it's going to be an epic ending to a season this season. I think it's going to be really good here.
Yeah, it is going to be fantastic. Very much looking forward to getting this next race underway. Round 6 of the championship. We're just about completing qualifying, and Kyo Thiago Marteau seems to have taken the pole position, unless there are surprises here. Maybe Will McIntyre Jones can do something. He's on a lap at the moment in 4th place. However, I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to supersede Marteau. And Marteau being a driver of note here today, because he's recently joined up with the Williams Esports Academy. He is a new driver there, has been signed there recently, and that's the livery you can see from him and you will be able to see from him. It's good to have a driver of such calibre being spotted actually by Williams Esports Academy. It's difficult sometimes for drivers to get spotted, but he's on the ladder now, and who knows where he'll go in sim racing with that new contract.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great that people are being picked up. I think it's good that they're going outside of the box and giving other people the opportunity. I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's always difficult to get into esports. You know, I've had my boys who both drive within iRacing, and they've been like, Dad, how do we get into a team? How do we do this? And I'm like, well, you got to be good. You know what I mean? So they're both still learning their trade, but they're both sort of, doing rather well. But it is difficult. Surprisingly difficult, I think. That's, it is surprisingly difficult for people to get into esports within this kind of sim racing world. So, yeah, I think it's great for him, and he's doing rather well. Fair play to him.
He is doing well in this session at the moment. He's not up there in the championship, and in fact, not many of those who are really on the front two rows at the moment. Lee Aberdeen is not here at all by the looks of things, but he can afford to not turn up for the next 3 weeks, and he'll get the equivalent of second place finishes. Although I say that there's only one drop week, isn't there? So it's this doesn't quite work like that. Nevertheless, he will take that as his drop week. He will score 42 points in effect, and Brent Ruiz will have to win to bring that gap down from 7 points anymore. That's what makes it so impressive. That's what makes it so difficult to bridge the gap for Ruiz. If he doesn't win, he loses points. It's as simple as that, and that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it is, but it's a difficult kind of situation, isn't it? To win the championship, you've got to win the races, and if you're not winning the races, well, you're not going to win the championship. So, it is what it is. But here's the grid for you, sir.
Yep, here is the grid for the race at Imola today. It's Thiago Marteau on the front with Simon Frelick alongside. Fabio Grosseto is in third, ahead of the first real championship contender, Will McIntyre-Jones, sixth in the standings. He is in fourth off of the start, ahead of Brent Ruiz, runner-up currently. Evan Way there in sixth place with Remstra and Piper on the next row. Luca Vrani and Jakub Olszewski will be running out the top 10. Tony Jimenez and Andy Flint are next, and Mikko Volkering and Alvin Chan, who we haven't seen much of so far. Neither have we seen much of Yashish Manohar in 15th place. It will be Clark Williams 16th and Sebastian Hirsch. Jimmy Dos Santos will share a row with him. Alistair Hay and Thibaut Rabelais will round up the top 20, with Ivan van der Hoek uncharacteristically qualifying down in 21st for the driver, in third in the championship. Nick Carty will share a row with him, with Eddie Amos and Patrick Williams behind them. Reed Dennis and Václav Potapenko are next, ahead of Zoltan Zamota and Rino Schettini. Then it's James Carvajal in 29th. Mike Zotlovs is in 30th. Richard Van Veen and Rob Ridgway are on row 16 together, ahead of Giovanni Tolito and Ben Goyette. Oscar Artinano is alongside Chris George Angelidis. Marcelo Kessler 37th, ahead of Maximilian Gebhardt. Then it's James Rush and Adam Townsend, the top 40. Koji Ito, Borzos Grzelecki and Rob Mulderink will be the 43 drivers, if indeed those bottom three get onto the grid. I am somewhat sceptical that they will. But there is Adam Townsend. He at the back of the field.
Yeah, look how far back he is. He's like,
yes, well,
he needs like binoculars to get to the front.
Yeah.
Bless.
You can't see the lights that are about to come on. 30 laps, as you can see. We're about to end the gridding procedure, and it looks like everybody who is going to get onto the grid is here, not including Van der Hoek, interestingly, as we get things underway for the first time. 30 laps here at Imola, and it's a good start for Thiago Marteau. He will lead it towards turn one. Frelick not able to actively overtake him into Tamburello for the first time, and so they'll filter through. They'll stay off the curbs as best they can, and they will get this race properly underway very shortly. But it's a good start for Marteau. Not only has he held the lead, actually, he's got a couple of car lengths on those behind.
Yeah, it's very interesting. They can't overtake until they're coming out the Variante Alta, of course, before they can go and start making active overtakes. Oh, there's a spinner there! Fabio Grosseto!
Wow.
Oh, no!
And that they are allowed to overtake him because he's off the side of the road, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it. Oh.
Yeah. Out of Tosa, through turn 7, it just looked like he got on the power too early, really.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he just put the gas down too quick, and around he went for Grosseto as they've gone through Tosa now. So we are actively racing. But Chris George Angelidis is off as well. Giovanni Solito has also gone off at the same time. So yeah, a bit of a mix-up at the moment on the starts.
It is, and as I said at the time, Ivan van der Hoek, third in the championship at the moment, has not gotten away at all in this race. He's not partaking in this one, and so he will lose a lot of points here. He'll lose over 20 to Lee Aberdeen. He's already 13 behind. You do the maths. That's going to be a long road to recovery for him. End of the opening lap then. We'll get some replays in a few moments' time, but for now the racing is absolutely on as they're allowed to properly overtake. Nobody's going to be overtaking this man. Thiago Marteau is leading the way by quite some distance here, by nearly a second in fact after only a lap. Then it's Frelick in second. Will McIntyre-Jones is up to third ahead of Brent Ruiz. Then Evan Way rounding out the top 5 and he's at the head of the train. Then it's Kevin Zwemstra and everybody behind who's a lot closer than what we're seeing in the top 4.
Yeah, Kevin Zwemstra here in that 21 machine, chasing down Evan Way here again from the MRP, working his way, sitting in 5th place at the moment. So doing a stellar job from him. They've got the start queue all the way down to Andy Flynn, and then we've got a second Michael Volkering. There is the number 6 car. That's Janis Manohor is off the side of the circuit as well. So that's brought Clark Williams into play as they're heading down now out of the Piratella, coming down into Aqua Minerale. So great racing so far. Nice little battle here as well. And we've currently got Giovanni Solito and Chris George Angelidis into the pits. Patrick Williams, Reed Dennis and Tony Jimenez, believe it or not, have all pitted. So we've still got 38 and a half runners because Chris George Angelidis is in the pits. I'm not sure if he's coming back out. But there we go. That is the situation as of lap 2 and we've still got 28 to go.
Yeah, you can lose 3 laps and still be classified here, by the way. It's normally 2 at a regular circuit, but because we've just ticked over to 30 laps for this race, you can lose 3 laps and still be classified with the 10% rule. So that may be in Angelidis' mind. He might be able to, George Angelidis' mind, he might be able to get out in time. Will McIntyre-Jones holds 3rd place ahead of Brent Ruiz, who really needs some points today. He looks up the inside once again and looks like he's going to have a podium place at the end of this lap. Down the inside at Tamburello, he does have the move stick. So into 3rd place for Brent Ruiz. The crazy thing still remains, he is losing a point today, although Frelick's off. What's happened to Simon Frelick? In the 2nd position previously, now back to 4th position all of a sudden. Here it is. It must be. It's over the curbs, yeah, and he's into the grass and the gravel, and he's lost 2nd place.
Yeah, he has. He rejoins in 4th though, but he hit the little sausage curb, I suppose we could call it, going in there, and unfortunately he has come out and lost a bit of time. He went in through Variante Tabarello and lost time there as well. Alvin Chan is side by side with Mano O'Hara at the moment as well as 41. There is Alvin Chan as he's chasing down the guy in with Manohor in front of him there as well. So yeah, great action all the way through the field, mind you. There is battles everywhere. And Patrick Pieper here as well with Luca Varani battling away right up behind him.
A good evening to Jake Denahan, who's in YouTube chat this evening. He says, Simon for the win. Well, unfortunately, Jake, as soon as you said that, he went off the road, so I'm sorry about that. But he's down to 4th now, and I'm sure we'll look to pick himself back up again. Still a bit of racing on other platforms and so on as Simon, with Jake Denahan, of course, who's a good driver in his own right. Now over the line at the end of another lap here. Let's see, another fastest lap for Marteau, by the way. But Brent Ruiz up to 2nd place now with McIntyre-Jones close behind and all the others with 3 wide back here.
Yeah, 3 wide scrapping it out at the moment as well. How's this one going to turn out? Well, I don't know how it's going to turn out as they go into Tamburello. Sebastian Hirsch, Alistair Hay and Fabio Grassetto, who of course is in recovery after going off, well, practically just on, I don't know if we want to call it a parade lap or not, but he kind of went off the side of the circuit there after getting down on the power too early. So not great for Grassetto. Clark Williams and Mano O'Hara are side by side going out of Toza on that run. There's somebody with a completely smashed up
Volkering.
car. Yeah, I think that is Volkering. Has got nothing on his car whatsoever, and I'm trying to find where he went off and I just cannot find anything, so I don't know if it's just been taken out and it's not registered here, and that's the situation, but I've got nothing for Volkering whatsoever.
It's great side-by-side racing between Chan and Williams, and that's allowed Volkering to catch up again, even though he's got no front downforce at all. So into the chicane they go. probably the most formulaic of all of the chicanes on this circuit. The Variante Alta at the top of the hill. Volkering is struggling through these corners, but he can still drive in a straight line pretty quickly. He just needs to be careful on the brakes here because it does affect your braking performance, and he is careful, so it's okay. He will have Hurst right behind him now, and Alistair Hay as well. Surely Volkering's got to be in here because I reckon, excuse me, I reckon it was at the final corner on the previous lap to that one. Because I saw him come over the line with no front wing, but surely he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't go past the pit lane with no front wing.
No, I don't think he was. We've got Reed Dennis has unfortunately had an incident that as well. Volkering did go into the pits. Frelick here as well has got Will McIntyre Jones for company. So Simon Frelick there with McIntyre Jones chasing him down as well. So yeah, great run from McIntyre Jones at the moment, and it's just been getting quicker and quicker and quicker, and he's doing a great job this season. He really, really is. And on that run now, up into the Pirotella he go, the left-hander of course here, and he's got to look at getting it on now start getting on the power. As you can see, Frelick run a little bit wide on that run down into Aqua Minerale.
Yep, it's a very tricky couple of braking zones down here, of course. The plunge back uphill again as well, and now into the Variante Alta. It's Thiago Marteau who's still leading this race, by the way. Nearly 5 laps in now. 3.5 seconds is the gap that he's got over the rest of the field, and we're settling in somewhat to this race now. I don't believe we've seen everything that happened on lap 1, but it's pretty difficult to do so. I mean, there are 40 of them. We can't see everybody all the time, but yeah, it's been relatively okay in terms of clean racing. Chris George Angelidis has been one of those who's been down pit lane. Reed Dennis as well. We've obviously seen Volkering in the pit lane, but Patrick Williams and Giovanni Solito also had to come in on lap number 1. I mean, that's not too many, but let's have a look at some of the stuff that happened on that opening lap.
Yeah, Giovanni Cavallahau here apparently has had an incident, but I can't figure out what he quite got himself into here either. He's in, that's Potapenko going in. Is that just a bottleneck that I think has registered that he's had a crash? I believe it has here as well. We can have a look at what happened to poor old Fabio Grassetto right at the beginning of this as well. That's coming into Tosa, and he's going to spin it up on the way out. He's just put too much power down as Grassetto, and unfortunately around he goes. Giovanni Solito also had his own little moment as well. That's also coming into Tosa, where he goes on the brakes, and I've got a funny feeling he's not going to be doing too far off. The same thing as Grassetto. And that is where Chris George Angelidis joined him. I've got a funny feeling that was Chris George Angelidis, and yes, he had nowhere to go apart from into the back of Solito there. So Chris George Angelidis has also been off the side of the circuit as well. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened right at the beginning. There has been more all the way through, but otherwise we will be here for a long time at the moment. But Jakub Boleswinski chasing down Luca Varani.
Yeah, let's have a look at these two. Obviously well seasoned in this series now, especially Luca Varani, of course, very much involved in the running of the league. He actually dishes out the stewards sheet at the end of every week to tell us who has been penalised for what, and in fact there was only single warnings given out at Mugello. Really not much to report in terms of bad driving, just good racing, and hopefully we can see some more of it here. It is Varani leading the group. This is Olszewski trying to get past him though, and they're side by side on the way in, and it looks like Olszewski does have the position as well. The famous purple and yellow car of Luca Varani to 9th place then, and Andy Flint just in behind, along with Yassis Manaha as well in 11th. So this is all pretty close, pretty promising as well, and a good battle for 8th place.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's always nice to have nice ones there as well. Oh, Ben Goyet and Oscar Artinano look like they may have had a little bit of a moment here as well. That was coming up into Tamburello, and they look like they've had a problem as we're jumping onto the right side there as well. Luca Varani trying to chase down Oleszwinski as we look over his rear right tyre. And we're going off now up through Aqua Minerale on the run into Variante Alta here as well. But we're going to have a quick look, see what happened to Ben Goyet here as well. And this is another one. He's looking right there. He's in the MRP in front, goes in. Oh, bounces. Another one that bounced that little curbing, or that little sausage curbing and unfortunately into the side he went. But yes, Manohar here doing an absolute stellar job as we're onto the front left of the wing of that car.
Yeah, very nice view of the battles that are happening in front of us here for 8th position. Olszewski leading the group with Varani just behind, who'll be looking to return the favour here almost into Tamburello, and he's got a real head of split steam now on the inside. Olszewski just couldn't block it in time, and Luca Varani goes straight back through again. Imola's known for its lack of overtaking chances, but this front straight is long enough in the F3 cars, thankfully.
Yeah, it is, and it's producing. I think that's going to be where we're looking at the main overtake will be coming from. Oleszewski tried to come back through as they go through Villeneuve, and then on that run through into Toza, but again he can't get through. Mano O'Hare behind is also trying there, as Oleszewski giving a little bit of a blink there. They're going to settle down until they go to the start-finish straight. This is Jimmy De Santos and Thibault Rabelard. They're battling it out further down for 17th and 18th. Adam Townsman's mixing it up for the Scuderia Racing Forces by iRace team. He's fighting with Tony Jimenez, who's also trying to come back through the field once more as well. So nice little pockets of battles at the moment, but the Luca Varani is kind of the head of the train with Oleszewski, Flynn and Mano O'Hare behind him.
Yeah, he's the head of the train again now, but for how long is this going to last? It's often falls apart pretty quickly in terms of for the leader. You've got no slipstream, no one to draft off of, and you can get overtaken very quickly. Down into the final 2 corners at Ravazza we go again. Out of the final turn, bit wide from Varani as well. Oh, this will be a slam dunk for Olszewski now. Even there's a fairly large gap in front of him. Surely he'll be able to go through, because Varani knew the importance of that exit, and it in fact put too much importance on it. Went wide in doing so, and he wouldn't have had a chance otherwise, would Olszewski, but he does now, and he decides not to take it. Wow, okay. That's a surprise, really, given the fact that he did lose a bit of time compared to Varani. In terms of pure cornering and the pure sectors of this circuit, he did lose a bit of time there, and he tries to squeeze through into Villeneuve as well. I'm not sure whether he was actually trying to overtake there or what he was doing, but it was very close, and he is still in 9th place.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what he was up to then either, coming into Villeneuve. I didn't know, because Varani didn't give him the line down into Tamburello. He didn't make the move. It looked like Varani was going to give him the inside, and then he went to give him the outside, and Oleszewski couldn't really decide where he was going to go, so he ended up following him through there as well, and going into Villeneuve at the same time. The same scenario. I think Varani just positioned his car in a way where he made Oleszewski think, and the problem with making him think is he then doubted himself, and as the famous saying goes, he who hesitates loses out, and I've got a funny feeling Oleszewski has just lost out, as he's now got Andy Flint tucked up right behind him.
Excuse me, sorry, I had my mic muted there. This happened last lap, and what we saw was that Varani went a bit wide. Olszewski sort of got back on terms again anyway. Now that's less likely now, I feel, because Luca Varani is in the slipstream of Patrick Pieper now in 7th position. So it always gets a bit different, doesn't it, when the driver you're trying to overtake has a draft themselves. It makes life a whole lot more difficult.
It does. It becomes almost that scenario like a DRS train, but we haven't got DRS. That's the problem, and it's kind of like a draft train, isn't it? And then everybody's kind of in the same boat. They're just following each other. Manohar as well is also following Andy Flint. He's looking to dive up the inside. Flint, well, Andy, you've given him a lot of room there, buddy, and lost an absolute chunk of time to the guys in front. That was a little bit of a rollover. Tickled your belly there was Andy Flint. Unfortunately for him, he didn't have much of a defence against that, and didn't really send it in deep either to try and cover it off. So I'm a little bit confused there on Andy Flint, unless he was erring on the side of caution, of course. But Manohar now is going to follow on from there.
Yeah. So up inside the top 10 now. His first appearance, certainly since we've been covering the series. Well, I don't want to say for certain, because we've seen so many drivers, I don't know. But it's definitely the first time this season. And so Manohar is putting on a good debut performance here, I've got to say. And Alvin Chan, again, not sure whether it's actual full debut or whether it's just a first appearance of this season for these guys. But nevertheless, it's a good start to their campaigns, and hopefully there's some more good results to come their way as well, as this kind of a good starting point for them. Out over the Ravazza corners they go. Now then, Zwemster gets close to McIntyre Jones, and he doesn't hesitate and wait. Zwemster goes for it, and he gets the position as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what Oleswinski should do. He's I feel he should just go. It doesn't matter if you're swapping backwards and forwards, as long as you're there on the final lap. I think that's going to be the thing for Oleswinski, but he just seems very, very tentative. I don't know if he's using Varani as almost like a tugboat pulling a ferry. Do you know what I mean? Because I think Oleswinski's just got a chain latched out to Varani, and Varani's taking him into people. So maybe that's Oleswinski's plan. I don't really know. It just seems a bit weird that twice he's had the opportunity and twice he hasn't taken it.
Well, maybe. I don't really know why, but anyway, he clearly decided at this point that is the way to go at this stage, and holding back is the best course of action, but not sure entirely why. Maybe it will become clear to us a little bit later on. So lap 11, we're already a third of the way through this race. This one's flying by pretty quickly, but it's... Oh, no, it's a spin, I'm afraid, for Chan. I was just talking him up earlier, saying he was having a good race, and unfortunately that's what happens. Goes for a spin at Variante Alta, and he will drop even to 16th place. I think this is just over the curves and on the power again.
Yeah, seems to be the regular theme at the moment, doesn't it? Yep, over that one, unsettled the car, took the inside of the next one, and unfortunately you can't apply power while you have no wheels on the deck. So unfortunately for Chan, he needed to keep all 4 wheels back as well. Yes, Bolter, Tony Jimenez is on the comeback, and he is flying here as well, but he's got a long way to go before he starts breaking into the top 15 with Sebastian Hirsch here as well, side by side currently at the moment. Alvin Chan is in front of us. Hirsch again doesn't... Oh, Chan! Oh! Well, he had that car sideways through there, didn't he?
He wants to make up some of those places he's just lost there, and he's just done that with one of them. Hirsch did get through, but not for much longer. Now Clark Williams is ahead of Andy Flint. Now, well, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't even think Williams was that close, actually, but clearly he was close enough. And he's...
there you go.
That's how. Right, that explains an awful lot. Because I didn't think he was close enough to make a move, but turns out he wasn't really. But Flint and his off-track moment kind of aided that move, certainly. And now this battle for the top 10 is getting extra interesting. Manohar holds it currently. Then it's Williams and Flint already in the group. Fabio Grossetto's not that far away, and he's bringing Alistair Hay with him.
Yeah, he is. Both obviously Fabio trying to recover from his earlier mishap, should we say, once more, with Andy Flint trying to get Clark Williams, but Grossetto's on his way. Alistair Hayes not too far back either, so this could be a nice little 5-way battle here. We've got Eddie Amos battling away at the moment with Michael Volkrig. No. No? Okay, well that's cancelled that one. They were battling there as well. But Clark Williams going for Janis Manohar there as well, and Kevin Swebstra is having a go with Will McIntyre as they're coming into Tamburello before they go off into Variante Vilna.
Yeah. Swebstra, having made that overtake a couple of laps ago at Tamburello, of course, on Will McIntyre Jones, up to 4th place now. He's only got a second and a half up to Shimon Frilich in the final podium place, but Frilich still behind Brent Ruiz, of course, who's running second, and they're all behind Kio Thiago Marteau. What a drive this has been so far from the Netherlands, the Hollander, the Netherlands driver. 7 seconds ahead of the rest, and not looking back, certainly.
No, he's not. He's doing an absolutely stellar job. He's out in front, absolutely dominating. 6.5, 7 seconds at the moment. So for him, he has got, he can just chill pretty much, can't he? And that's the thing at the moment. He can just sit, chill, and have no issues whatsoever. Will McIntyre Jones, however, with Kevin Swemstra, has got to try and battle away up there from that one. And Manohar and Flint Williams and Grossetto now still fighting out, and Alistair Hay not too far back at all. So nice little battles developing here in this mid-pack.
It's just the lower part of the top 10 and the sort of the just outside of it as well that's just really interesting at the moment. There's Manohar again just ahead of Flint. So those two back nose to tail again after some time earlier on. They're back together again. Now, he's going to have a real job in his hands to defend this, though, Manahart. I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to at all. He keeps through the middle of the road, giving Flint the option, and he chooses the inside, and that's no surprise. Manahart lets him do that as well, and so Flint will be through into 10th position. That wasn't too difficult in the end, but the difficult part's getting away afterwards.
The problem is there's nowhere. He almost could have done with like a Suzuka SE section after that overtake to try and open up some of the gap, but he hasn't got anything. You know, he's got the chicane, he's got a run down into Toza that's, again, a little bit of a straight that they can catch on with. He's going to go through Toza, and then they've got another run to Piratella. So lots of draft on this track, and it's going to be increasingly difficult for Andy Flint to get away. As you see, Grassetto and Williams now side by side. They're almost wheel touching there as well. Looks like Potapenko's gone off again. He looks like he went off into Villeneuve there as well. So nice little battles here between these guys and good scraps. Williams through on Grassetto, but Grassetto also trying to catch up with he's trying to catch up with Manohar and Andy Flint.
It is all very close here. So who is going to take this 10th place in the end? We're about to hit halfway in this race at Imola this evening, and Flint hanging on nicely to 10th position. Manahar's under pressure from Fabio Grassetto here, and Grassetto, you'd imagine, is probably the quickest of everybody now, because he just got that spin, of course, out of Toza on the opening lap, if you remember, and that dropped him a bit further back than really he's meant to be. He's a top 5 sort of on pace kind of driver on this circuit, and so he should be able to find his way through here pretty quickly. Manahar recognises that and lets Grassetto go through. I think Grassetto's going to have overtaken everyone in this group by the end of the next lap.
Yeah, he's definitely flying coming through. He's down 8 on where he started, but obviously we know why that is. He's got about 1.05 up to Flint. It's whether or not Manahar is going to come back at him right the outside. Oh, he probably could have been a bit braver there, I think, for Manohar here as well. I think he could have been a bit braver, and he could have hung that out round the outside up through Villeneuve as they're coming up through Toza now. But Clark Williams is going to be under attack from Alistair Hay very shortly. Adam Townsman's got Sebastian Hirsch and Giovanni Caval there scrapping away as well, as these guys are on their way into Villeneuve. So nice little tiny battles developing. 2 packs at the moment really going at it, sort of head to toe at the moment. Ooh, there as well. And where was Nick Carty going, as he's involved in all of this as well?
Not sure, really. He was diving for that apex. Don't know why. Carvajal now will be looking for a move. Oh, maybe into Piratella. This would be brave. No. Decides not to. Probably sensible. It's a very, very fast left-hander at the top of the hill there, of course. And you've got to be pretty brave to do that. End of the lap, by the way, for those at the front of the field. We're getting to that stage in the race where things are very spread out now. So we are officially halfway in this one. But Grassetto, well, he hasn't really gotten away from this group at all. I would have thought he'd be on to Flint by now, but no, he's not away from Manahart, who's not away from Williams. And now Grassetto's giving the slipstream to Williams to sort of help him drag past and maybe protect his own place there, Grassetto. Williams does indeed get through then. Oh, dear me! Manahart very nearly got into Williams and off the road. They're both off briefly, and they fortunately keep things pointing in the right direction, but that was very close.
That's got to be a slowdown for Williams. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. He completely missed the chicane altogether. Over the bumps, that F3 took off up in the air like an aeroplane, and he's managed to come back down. But of course, that's brought Alistair Hay into it. Now, these guys have started to spread out a little bit as well. So the middle, even that middle pack, is spreading out. We've got Patrick Pieper. He has got Evan Way in front and Luca Varani. Varani's closing him down, mind you. Varani last time out 1:37.28. Pieper with a 1:37.37 there as well. So he's not that much slower, but he is slower than Varani, who is slowly catching up to the back of it.
Yeah, it's a very slow, drawn out beginning to this battle, really, but looks like Varani will get there and fight for this 7th position. If we apply one drop week, by the way, Varani's only 9th in the standings. He's right up there. He could do something towards the end of this season. Another solid season for him, despite some of the incidents he was involved in the first few rounds, which he himself classified as uncharacteristic for him. He's very much back in it now. He's too far back this time. He's better off waiting, really. There's still a long way to go in this race, and the hopes of him actually getting through on people here and catching the guys further in front are pretty small. That gap is quite big, really, at 3 seconds, so it's worth taking his time over this overtake.
Yeah, definitely is there for Varani as well. In the background, we got Manohar here as well with Alistair Hay. Hay has just gone past him on that run down into Tamburello and is now trying to hold on to this position. Again, the same scenario. Getting past is one thing, but getting away is another. So he's got to try and get away from him. Not too sure. He's just got to be quicker. I think that's the only thing we can say. He's got to go in. He's got to be braver going into entry. He's got to be braver taking some of the curbs as well. And he's just got to be braver. That's it for Alistair Hay. He can't do nothing else here. So we'll have to see what happens as well. But Pipa has got Varani now very, very close as they're coming through Varianta Alta now on the run down into Ravazza.
So through they go, down the hill again. Such a tricky braking zone down here, of course, into 17. You're turning right and going pretty steeply downhill in what is quite a hilly part of the world anyway. And you've got to get that car stopped from a really high speed, one of the highest speeds you can get on this racetrack, in fact. And it's somewhat similar around Acqua Minerale as well. The technical challenge of this circuit, not to be underestimated. Makes overtaking tricky, but Luca Varani hasn't found that so far. He's now down the inside of Patrick Pieper, and he is into 7th place, is Varani. There he goes. And that may be it for the day, actually, for him. He'll be hoping he can catch the likes of McIntyre, Jones and Way before the end of this race, but with only 13 laps remaining, it might be a stretch.
Yeah, he's not making great advances. 1:37.25, 1:37.06, 1:37.33 for McIntyre, Jones and Evan Way in front of him. So unfortunately he's slower than Evan Way. He's faster than McIntyre Jones, but that's not going to make any difference if he can't get to Evan Way, of course. Clark Williams is now with Manohar again. Jimmy DeSantos has got Ben Gayet in front of him. He's going to be making a move past him, coming down into the Tamburello, I should think, as well here, as away he goes. Yeah, he was out of the draft early, and now he's got that inside line, the fastest route, and through he goes. So that's Jimmy DeSantos over Ben Gayet getting through on that one. So, yeah. Still a couple of battles happening within the top 10, of course. Evan Way here, he's trying to get into Will McIntyre Jones at the moment as well. No real advantage over lap times from these guys at Ewan. I think they're just trying to sort of get to the end of the race, really, unless Evan Way can get a good run now down into Tamburello.
Here we go. Evan Way looking for a 5th position here with Will McIntyre Jones currently. Well, I was going to pass it on the defensive. He's not, is he?
No.
He's staying to the right-hand side very much so, and Evan Way gets up to 5th place. Evan Way 8th in the standings at the moment, by the way. He's not a million miles away either. Just very consistently in this sort of 5th to 10th region, isn't he, in the field. I don't think he's going to win him a championship anytime soon unless he really starts getting some podiums and maybe race wins out of his car, but it's a good place to be for now.
Yeah, he's improved a lot this season from last season, Evan Way, and he's got quicker and quicker and quicker, and that's a great testament to him. Maybe he's putting the time in, maybe he might have even got coaching. I don't know what the situation is with Evan Way, but he has got more consistent, but he's got consistently quick. I think that's the thing for Evan Way. He isn't lacking in ability, is he? He's got a lot faster, and that just shows from him. You know, his average start position is 14th. His average finish is 10th. He's had 3 top 10s as well this season. No top 5s at the moment. But I think he might get one here today if he can just hang on in front of McIntyre Jones.
Well, it's looking like a difficult task for now. Down into Ravazza they go. Turning and braking again. McIntyre Jones getting very close again on the brakes there too. Very good to see. Now into the slipstream for McIntyre Jones. Surely he's close enough to make a move here. He's right under the rear wing already. Pulls to the left hand side, and once again Evan Way's not going to go on the defensive either. So once again a lack of defence. I wonder when this defence is going to begin.
Probably before the last 5 laps, I would have thought. I think coming the end of the 5 laps, I think might have been probably the best bets for them to start defending a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they don't see the need to. Maybe they just don't see the point, as Patrick Pieper and Fabio Grosseto have just swapped positions with Andy Flint now. I think Pieper's actually gone off the side of the circuit. He has. For him, unfortunately, he's going to hit the curb. Whoa! Over the only little bit of a sausage curb there as well. And unfortunately, he has gone round and lost that position. But Grosseto now chasing down Andy Flint.
Well, that's good. That might have done some underfloor damage to the car there for Patrick Pieper, unfortunately, because the way he slid over that curb wasn't nice. Now Grosseto's going for a brave one. Oh, my word! That is brave from both of them. Flint couldn't handle the speed that he had there because he was going around the outside. Grosseto could barely get it stopped on the inside, and now he finally goes through. Flint deciding, well, if you want it that badly, then you can have it, I think, because that was very close to a big accident for both of them.
Yeah, it definitely was there, but he's made it through, and they both recovered there for Fabio Grosseto, so that's, well, lucky on his part, I think, as Andy Flint is now settled in behind him again. If he can stay within this 3/10 mark that he's got at the moment, he might have a run down into Tamburello. So I think from his perspective, he could be close enough to make that move. He's coming down 3 tenths, 2 tenths at the moment. Is he going to get it down to 1.5? He is, just before they go over the line. He's got that line. Grosseto covers him off. That's the defense there as well. And Flint just not this time. I don't think it's close enough.
Not this time. So he stays in 10th position. Grosseto will now be on his way, I'd imagine, based on the pace he showed earlier on. Should be on his way. Final third of this race now. 10 laps remaining, including the one that we're on, and that may well be one of the fading battles now inside the top 10. We may well have had the lot now inside the top 10. There'll be stuff going on elsewhere, of course. In fact, Nick Carty pretty close to Sebastian Hirsch here for 22nd position. That's the sort of next closest battle. Zotan Zamotta and Marek Zotlovs. Whoa, they were closer than I was even expecting there. Into Villeneuve, Tinta Toza as well. Zamotta covers the inside line. So yeah, there are these little 2-car battles going on now.
Yeah, Zamotta's trying to make a move, but I don't know if making a move up into Villeneuve would have been the best bet. I probably would have followed him through. It's really hard because you know the best passing opportunity is down the start finish straight, but you also want to try and unsettle the car in front. He might make a mistake that might allow you to go through, and unfortunately for Otlovs, I probably wouldn't have tried to unsettle in there. Maybe up into outer if he can get it alongside, or even poke his nose out. Nothing doing here. In through Valley and outer we go, and then coming out down into Ravazza again. He's got to stay within that 3/10 mark. He's 3 tenths just at the moment, because just gone under 2, and so he might have a chance down into Tamburello, but we'll have to see how it pans out here for Otlovs, whether or not he's going to get that move done here again. So, but I do love his livery. It's beautiful, I've got to be honest.
Otlovs? Yeah, it's just not bad, is it? No,
it's shiny. Look at it, it's all shiny.
It is shiny, that is true. Trying to blind everyone out the way by the looks of it. Certainly reflecting off the sun that we get here in Italy. Otlovs not going for a move on this occasion. Zamotta will hang on to 18th position in this case. Sebastian Hirsch still ahead of Nick Carty. They're heading into turn 1, but they also stay single file as well. So no moves into turn 1 for the first time I can remember in quite some time. And that includes McIntyre Jones, who's still ahead of Evan Way for 5th place, of course.
Yeah, Evan Way and not really closing. Will McIntyre Jones has got in front of him again, but I think these two are just swapping places, to be honest, as Evan Way there as well through Ravazza. He's got 4 attempts. He needs to get it down to about 3.5. Whether or not he's going to have enough scope going forward, we'll have to see how it gets on there from Evan Way as well, as we jump on to the front left of his car. He's trying to settle in behind him. I don't think he's going to have it this time around. I'm not entirely sure if he's going to have that room. He's going to try and go around the outside. He's got it down to just about 2 attempts. Not going to make it this time around is Evan Way. So unfortunately he's going to have to sit there again and see if he can unsettle him coming up into Valle and Villeneuve. He's not. There's somebody off the side of the circuit. That might be James Rush off the side of the circuit there as well, who unfortunately looks like he has. He's jumped back to the pits. So is he hit the... Whoa! Oh dear.
What went on there? Well, was that a lapping incident? Who was that down his inside? I can't work that out from there.
Webster.
Ah, that's why. So I think Rush has started to get lapped by people and thought that, you know, I'm trying to stay out of the way of people here, but I've just got into slight contact with someone, and I know there's been a slight hit on the wall there, but I think he's thought, I better not get in anybody else's way now. I better go back to the pit lane and call it a day from there, which is very, well, if that is what he's done, sort of very thoughtful of him, I suppose, but doesn't necessarily have to. Just because you're a lap down doesn't mean you have to retire from these races, of course. You can continue on. In fact, we still do have 33 even drivers out there on the circuit, and indeed the last two still running are battling right now. Potapenko, and George Andalidis have taken each other off. So maybe don't do that, but they've been fighting for the wooden spoon, and I'm afraid they've both ended up with a soggy one. Oh dear.
Did you see that? There was a mountain of gap between them.
Well, that's true as well.
That was it. I've never seen so much room between two cars that have caused apparently a collision. Look at that.
Yeah, that's they would have made it through as well probably. So that's a shame for both of them. It's one of these things you got to factor in, isn't it, when you're online racing, unfortunately. But it is not a good look. That was very close. That was probably closer.
That was closer than the one that actually was an incident from Alvin Chan there as well. The inconsistencies on that one. Well, there we go. You can see that for yourself. That was insane. But Rino Scattini, Sebastian Hirsch are going side by side into Variante Tabarello, and Scattini can't make it through this time around, but I'm sure he will have a good old go. Alvin Chan still going there as well. Richard Van Veen, has also had a little bit of an incident as well. So, yeah, slowly this is developing into a freeway with Nick Carty, who seems to be the quicker of the three, to be honest.
Maybe, yeah. He was and Scattini's made a mistake through Toza there. I think Carty might well be straight through here on the inside at Piratella. Oh, he only looks up the inside, doesn't actually go for it. Interesting. So, clearly hanging fire for now. We've also seen Jimmy DeSantos off the road a bit further back. He's 28th now. He was running a couple of positions further up than that a couple of moments ago before finding himself off the road. And speaking of which, Rino Scattini does just that as well. Nick Carty will go through on the inside here shortly, although he's only just alongside. No, wasn't brave enough. And Scattini gave him the room to do that as well, but Carty didn't want to cause an accident.
Oh, mate. But that was a mistake. He had that line, he had the inside, he was given the room, and he just didn't quite be able to pick him up and stick him in his pocket. But let's see if Alvin Chan can, as well, as these guys are coming into Villeneuve here as well, and again with Clark Williams there as well. That was crazy from Carty. The door was left wide open.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't fully, alongside. Well, he was quite a long way alongside, but he wasn't, right the way wheel to wheel yet. He didn't have the confidence there to go in deep and go side by side, because realistically it is a one-line corner through there. The curbs there will spit you out if you're not careful, and so he didn't really want to contend with that, didn't want to go side by side, and so given that he was the one who was slightly behind, thought he better be the one to back off too.
I don't know, maybe run it in a little deeper, put Scattini out where he doesn't want to be. Maybe make Scattini back off a little bit, but Nick Carty didn't do that. I can tell you what, if Chan isn't careful, he's going to be trying to go forward here, but he's going to have Clark Williams, who's going to get him on that run down into Tamburello here as well, as Williams is looking very, very close at the moment once again. So let's see if he can make it through Clark Williams, but it's going to be a tough one, I think, here as well, Ewan, and to see whether or not he's going to be able to make it. I think it could be Chan or Manohar before they get into Tamburello.
Looks like it, but we're at that stage now where the defending has begun, and Manohar, well, it didn't matter, did it? He pulled to the inside, And Chan just went right round the outside and is able to take the nice line in towards Tamburello. This is a good run for Manohar, though. Maybe he can have a go at Villeneuve. Chan forced to defend. If he can go around the outside through the first part here, he can jam it down the inside at the right-hander, but it's so grey and dusty and sandy out there. Oh, and he's got it wrong anyway. Through the second part, he goes for a spin, and he drops to 15th.
Oh, there's somebody else on the grass as well. I think that was Chris George Angelidis in that number 10 car. He looked like he just gone off. He did go off the side of the circuit as well. Now George Angelidis is under pressure once more. Of course, these guys are lapping him. And please, please, please don't get in the way, dear sir. We've got time, shift it over to the right, lift it up a little bit. Well done. See, that's how you do it, Ewan.
He went in the grass as well. He went over what the expectations are.
Making sure they could get through.
He is making sure that everyone goes through, and they do in the end. I think Clark Williams has got a good chance of finishing 13th here. Manohar's immediately been dropped into another defence, by the way, as Tony Jimenez is going to have to overtake him now. Surprised to see Jimenez so far back, actually, in this race. Clearly not enjoying Imola today, because he's normally right in the top 10. And has been on many occasions so far this season. In fact, he's not been outside of the top 7 so far.
Yeah, but he jumped to the pits on the opening lap.
He started from pit lane,
did he?
Okay.
Yeah, he left the pits. So he's making his way back through the field currently at the moment. But Williams has got to get braver. Got to get braver, I think. The problem is you chance leaving it so late that you might leave it too late. And for Williams, he's got to make sure that he doesn't do that. If the opportunity arises over this next lap and a half or 2 laps, he's got to take it. Send it in. See what happens. Maybe Chan will back out, because Chan is looking a little bit raggedy.
Yeah, well, he's on the defensive again. Piratella outside line's always going to be tricky, but he's there anyway, and Williams just cuts back to the inside again. If you can just compromise him into Akaminerale, then maybe a mistake can be forced. He doesn't quite stay alongside, though. Difficult to force that. Oh, and he very nearly got it wrong himself. And he does. Oh, he goes for a spin. So nearly saved it as well. Clark Williams needs to get going again before Jimenez. Oh, that was close. Jimenez and Manohar go through, and Tony Jimenez is now up to 14th place. But Clark Williams, unfortunately, eventually that went wrong for him. He was just trying to put Chan off on the way to Akaminerale, but put himself off in the end.
Yeah, I don't know if he was expecting. I don't know if Chan's braking point caused him a problem, and that's why he broke when he did, because I don't know if his braking point just didn't line up with Chan's. So that could be the reason here as well. Grosseto is under. He has got Flint behind him again here as well over the last 2 laps. Can Andy Flint get this position? Can he be braver? Can he be braver and just send it up the inside here as well? It'd be interesting to see what Flint can do.
Will he just wait, though? He might just wait, because I know what you're saying about it could be too late, but I don't see the problem with waiting for the last lap if he's very confident he'll go through. Now, he does need to execute on the last lap, of course. He does need to make sure that he executes, but I reckon the person who's leading on the exit of Tamburello on that last lap will finish in whatever position it will be.
Yeah, there's not many places for them to get through other than that, but Flint's now lost about 3 tenths. Could he kick himself and think that may have been my moment? I don't really know. But for Flint, he's pulling some time back, of course, here as well. We've got Patrick Pieper 2.2 seconds back in the background there, as you can see him there as well. But it's going to be... I don't think he's not close enough. Clark Williams has gone off again with Otlobs.
Well, that might have happened. I saw Patrick Pieper off in the background, is what I was exclaiming about. And he's lost 2 places. There's the spin. It's pretty needless one. He was driving on his own, out in the dirt, out in the dust, and drops 2 places as a result to go behind Chan as well, who's now up to 12th place. And Flint has lost all that time. Yeah. I get the feeling he's lost so much time. In fact, I get the feeling it hasn't actually mattered in the end what his decisions have been about this overtake, because Grosseto surely would have overtaken him and got away anyway, based on the difference I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, I think it is. Flint just hasn't got it here currently at the moment. 33 degrees centigrade track temperature. Could that be causing a problem with the tyres? That might be one of the issues. He just hasn't been able to get the grip to put down. It's now 1.3. He's losing time every corner, is Andy Flint. It's almost like he's either doing some desperate fuel saving here, and it looks like it is going all wrong for Clark Williams here as well. Oh, you hit the grass, bud. You hit the grass. Oh, Lenny, unfortunately. Sebastian Hirsch does a great job in avoiding him, but for Clark Williams, he's now got Zoltan Zamota right behind him as well. And unfortunately for Clark, it's all going a little bit Pete Tong over these last few laps. The leader, Thiago Marteau, has taken the white flag here, and we've got one more lap of Imola.
We have. It seems to me, I don't know whether this is the case or not, but it seems to me as if the rear tyres are going away from everybody at the moment, because everybody seems to be sliding their way around a little bit more than they normally do. Downforce cars, of course, don't get slid around very often, and at the moment these cars are certainly sliding across the surface. Patrick Pieper just behind Chan here. We'll see if he can get back into 12th place and at least recover one position from that mistake a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, he's down 5 from where he started, though, so even if he covers 1, he's not going to be too impressed with what he's done here today. I think that's the thing for Pieper. He's got to try and be consistent, whatever the situation is. He's now a Hail Mary. He's got it all or nothing it. He's been blocked off there from Chan. He's going to have a run coming through here as well. Is he going to be able to get him on the way up to Villeneuve? He's not close enough again here, Ewan, and I've got a funny feeling that this battle is going to stay as they are, as the leader comes through Variante Alta down on his way to Rivata.
I think it is going to be positions holding for what they are from now on, by the looks of things. Well, Thiago Marteau has yet to win so far this season, but he's about to put that right. Into the final corner here at Imola, and for the second week in a row, racing in Italy, it's the new winner. Thiago Marteau weaves around and celebrates his new contract at Williams Esports Academy with a win in the iGPFun F3 League here at Imola. 10 seconds the margin at the end. He's destroyed the field today, including Brent Ruiz, who's second, and at least doesn't lose any points to Lee Aberdeen in his absence. Third place will be Simon Frelick, joining them on the podium as well in what has been an entertaining race from start to finish. In fact, the first battle to the line is going to be Grosseto versus Flint, but I feel like anybody behind out the final turn is just about going to run out of road.
Yeah, he's not going to get it. I don't know if Pieper's going to get Chan either, as these are the next ones to go over the line. Chan, I wouldn't do that just yet, mate. The start-finish line's quite far down here. So, you've got to go a little while before you go there, and he manages to hold on as well. What about Carty over Schettini? Carty was looking quick at some points of this Grand Prix, but just hasn't quite developed that into pace. Again, he doesn't look closer going into Ravazza here as well. So I think for Carty, he's going to be where he is in 23rd place. So, yeah, well, that was a good one. I quite enjoyed that. That was a good one.
It was a good race. Very enjoyable. Carty up towards the line. Yeah, it's not going to be quite enough by the looks of it. And that will be just about it. But yeah, not bad at all. I mean, Imola, I don't always enjoy because of the difficulty of overtaking sometimes. But it didn't seem that, it didn't seem absolutely impossible, which is what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah, no, it seemed manageable for these guys, didn't it? I think that's the thing. It seemed very manageable. They were able to get past and make overtakes. The run down from Ravazza down into Variante Tamburello, that was the main part. That was, the holy grail of overtakes, because you had such a massive overspeed. But the results are on the screen for you there, sir.
Yes, it's Thiago Marteau at 10 seconds, the winner there ahead of Brent Ruiz, who maintains at least a 7-point championship at disadvantage to Lee Aberdeen. It's Simon Frelick joining him on the podium in his first race of the season, with Kevin Zwemstra and Will McIntyre-Jones inside the top 5. Evan Way couldn't quite pass McIntyre-Jones, and Verani really caught them at the end there. Jakub Olszewski finished 8th ahead of Grosseto, who held off Flint to the line. Alistair Hay just missed out on a top 10 with Alvin Chan beating Patrick Pieper to the line. Tony Jimenez finished 14th after starting from pit lane, with Yashish Manohar in his first race this season, it finishing 15th. Robert Widgway was the first driver within, or the last driver within a minute. Then Zoltan Zamotov finished 17th ahead of Adam Townsmer. It was Mike Sotloff and Sebastian Hirsch close over the line to round out the top 20, with Clark Williams just behind that. Rinus Catini and Nick Carty were close over the line too, with James Carvajal and Eddie Amos rounding out the top 25. Last driver on the lead lap was Thibaut Rabilot. Actually, he was the first one lap down, I should say. Richard Van Veen was there with him, along with Patrick Williams, Oscar Artinano and Ben Goyet in the top 30. And the last classified finisher, Chris George Angelidis, 3 laps down, but he will get points for 31st. Jimmy Dos Santos won't, unfortunately, for 32nd, and neither will James Rush or Vacislav Potapenko, Mikko Volkering, Maximilian Gebhardt, Marcelo Kessler, Giovanni Solito or Reed Dennis, or indeed the 4 at the bottom of your screen who didn't even take part in the race here today. So we're only 4 rounds away from the end of the season now. Round 6 already in the books, and we didn't have our championship leader here today, so it felt a little bit different this race, but it was entertaining racing for one at Imola, where, as we say, it can be very tricky.
Yeah, it can be, and it turned out to be really good racing. I'd be interested to know what happened to Tony Jimenez right at the beginning there as well. And Fabio Grassetto must be kicking himself after making a mistake on what is effectively still in the purple zone, just as he was coming out of Toza. I don't know if because he was coming out of Toza and that takes him out of the purple zone, that he thought he could slam on the accelerator and away we go. Giovanni Solito, Chris George Angelidis having issues as well. So there was people who struggled here. So, Simon Frelick even could have been further up if he hadn't made a mistake earlier on in the race. So yeah, a lot of action. A lot of people might go away and review this and think, I could have done better. But all in all, good racing all round.
Good racing, but I think it says a lot that 4 of the top 5 in the championship will be taking this as their drop round. That says all you need to know about the championship implications of today. So just take this race for what it was. Kyo Thiago Moto fully dominant in this race. 10 seconds ahead of Brent Ruiz, who finished in second, the only one in that top 5 in the championship to take the points from today. So that's all you really need to know in terms of the championship, but it was a good race in terms of its isolation. Over the next 4 weeks, of course, we'll have the real championship running as Lee Aberdeen tries to hang on to this championship lead right from week 1 to week 10. So I hope you'll subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel and catch all of the other iGPFun F3 League races we've got coming your way over the next 4 weeks. We'll be back once again next week, of course. We'll be at Sebring again for round 7, so I hope that you will join us then. For now, though, it's time for us to say goodbye. My name's been Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt here tonight, and until we see you over in America for round 7, it's goodbye for now.